So hello guys, today we're talking about LFI, local file inclusion, RFI, remote file inclusion in log poisoning using the Apache access.log file. So without further ado, let's start it. So this practice is based on a box that's available on TryHackMe. It is called dogcat, and it's just fun. I super recommend you guys try hack me and have as much practice as possible. Most labs free. You don't need to have a subscription. There's a couple of things that you can do with subscriptions that are actually really nice, but you don't need a subscription to learn. You can actually learn for free. So let's go. So our target is IP 10.10.37.106, and it's basically a website where you can see photos of cats or dogs. That's all. So start enumeration just to try and figure out which ports are open. I always start with scan because I like it. It's fast and there's not that much noise. It's not really noisy. You would expect to be, and I thought it was. It was a thing that I was keeping from using, but it's not. So let's go. Just run this. By the way, you can comment out if you want to. Nice, nice banner. And let's see. I do this because using this command right here, you can see that I'm setting range from 1 to 65,535. I'm mapping all the ports. So I ran this scan through all the ports on the server just to make sure I'm not missing anything important. For what you see, there's only port 22 and 80 open. They're very creative, by the way. Reference everywhere. So let's make sure you put that on our notes. There's a note that I made for the video itself, just to make it easy. I don't have to type everything again and again and again. So now you're gonna scan for port 22 and 80 using map. So I'm using this flag T4. It's very nice, but you're gonna use that a lot in CTF for just labs. If you want to be a bit faster, obviously as a hacker, you must be patient. But whatever, whenever you can, like you can save a bit of time, that'll be worth it, right? So just running this and save it for file comment on the map. This flag it just run a bunch of default scripts they can gather more information for us, and this will hopefully print out like versions of the service are running on those ports based on banners and also based on fingerprints and so on and so forth. So let's run this. This video can get I guess it will get pretty lengthy, and I speak quite slowly, but if you guys want you can speed this up. Of like a more enjoyable experience. I hope so. We're just using the map here, but we have like 2 ports that we're mapping and we use this flag, so it's quite quick. OpenSSH this version that doesn't offer a lot to us. If it was before the 6.1, we'd be able to enumerate users. Hopefully in some machines, not all machines, a lot of machines are already patched, even though they're version 6, they're not vulnerable. And this version of Apache does not actually provide anything useful for us to get access to the machine. But it's actually good to know. Alright. And you see like OpenSSH version, here the banner is saying Ubuntu and there's one machine that's saying Debian. That's because it's a spoiler, but our target is running SSH on the host and the web server is running on a Docker container, so that's why. And it's a Debian that's running on this container. I always before even access a page, there is a page in 480. I just start GoBuster and I try to have a look and run GoBuster at the same time. To save time as well, right? So you're gonna run that. This is a very small list. Um, a smaller word list is a smaller fingerprint or target to save, and it can save your time too. So that's the first I start. If I see something juicy, I just have a look at that first, and if I feel like I'm missing something, I use different word lists, or I could use like Deerbuster or something else to help me get more details easily. So I start small. That's interesting. There's a if I folder called cats index of PHP, so it's running PHP. The only thing you don't know is the version of the PHP, right? But you can get that. You can have that just with a simple curl, and I show that way. We're gonna use this command. I'm actually using this because it show which options we have with the web page. If you can send like hook to posts, if you can do that, it's probably because you can write or save file, or there's like some upload page somewhere. So it's always useful to do that. Pass this X and then options. So you know which kind of requests methods, HTTP methods are allowed. So here's our page. There is a button for dog, an older button for cats, and parameter is will. Send here, and exported by a PHP 7.4.3, and that's something to pay attention to. After PHP version 5, there's something, but I forget specifically which version. But after 5, and they start to checking, if you're trying to make tricky, if you're like using bytes or different operators to bypass some secure measures. That's something that was easier to do before this version. So version 7.4.3, it's just gonna be a bit harder for us, a bit tricky to get it LFI. So we're hoping that there's a mistake or something that they don't think about it, on the logic or logical flaw, most likely, that we can abuse to get access to files that shouldn't. This is a LFI lab, so LFI is local file inclusion. It's just us trying to get access to files on the server that we should not have access to. So yeah, a bit tricky, but we can do this, right? So let's visit our web. There's a page, this index.php. There's a folder called cats and HSX, HEXS, HE passability, TIA, but I don't know. Return 403, so I do not have access to those. Didn't return anything different than that. That would be really juicy. Oh my goodness. I think I have this right here for my notes. I don't have to type again. You can see here I have a lot of things on my bookmarks, and I always doing notes and things because I don't memorize stuff not often. I'm using also something called Webalizer, and Cook Editor. But this is really important, this Webalizer, because it also gives a version on everything that's running. So you have like that on your notes, and also here it's running 7.4.3, so the same result that Cora gave us. So I'm at the dog page and just start showing off dog pictures. It's ugly, but it's cute, right? We got any cats. It's good too. That's really cute. So you can see that I'm trying to do something else. Let me try to access a file that should be restricted. You should not have access to that. So okay, let's suppose I'm in for www and then HTML and then page, right? So I'm three levels above three. 1, 2, 3, 4 log HTML 4, at least four levels above the root or the server. So I have to go at least four levels down to be able to access etc passwd. But usually I'll just go extra 2 levels just to make sure I'm actually getting to, because I don't know the structure of the server, so I just add a bit more to make sure I'm hitting the root of the file system target, and then from there I go up, I go for etc for example, and then I'm trying to access swd. Sorry, only dogs or cats are allowed, so I'm not allowed. It's bad, but maybe there's something else. There's a obviously it knows that I did not type dog or cat, so maybe it's using some sort of regex to limit what I can access, right? So it's possible. So I know there's a folder called cats, so I try to access the folder cats, right? So I'll try to access this and see what kind of error throw at us, right? And that's something to pay attention to. You do not want those kind of errors to appear to users, because they could be hackers. They just have them troubleshoot their way into a box. That's not nice. That can help you, but that can actually be quite painful. So what we learn here, it tried, oh, here we go, right? So by the logic that worked, at least at some level, there's some check, and you could pass through the check. That's pretty good. And it's trying to open cat/.php, so it's adding php at the end, and just fail to between no such file directory in. Yes, there's no .php file, so I think it's not gonna open, right? So we know that there was like, this is like, right, index, right, .php, and then we go one level up. We can do from here, go one level down and trying to access index, and we know that it's going to add a .php at the end, right, because of the error, the warning. So let's do that and see what happens. Let's progress, right? That's another error, and it's saying that I'm just trying to access index.php again and cannot do that. Previously declared and whatever. Then there we go. But there's a thing, we can use I guess it's called method. I'm not a PHP developer, so please correct me if I'm wrong. Anything that I say is wrong anyway, or even if you guys have tips or anything to share with me, I encourage you guys to please don't be afraid to comment that. That's actually going to be helpful to me. I'll be able to improve and learn more. So let's see. I have a note on that. I do not remember. I do not memorize things. I have notes everywhere. Notes. And I'm going to use PHP, and the rest we're going to use this filter. And I'm trying to convert to base 64. The coding is not really a hash, just more like in code. It's really, yeah, it's possible to refer it, so it's not a hash. And then you pass the resource, and then the resource we want to access it. In this case, it being DAX. So if you successfully do this, if you successfully accomplish this, or you'll be able to understand more about how the filter itself works, so maybe you can bypass it, right? So I try to access index, and so we can read what's doing. sorry, only cats and dogs are allowed. So okay, let me go one level up to the cats folder, and from there, or let me see, I guess I can pass this right here. Going one up, then from there, trying to access an index, and then just add .php, so that would be fine. Should be able to find the file. And there we go. I found and encode it, so that you don't have that error. But it's a bit hard to copy that. So I'm gonna use curve to throw that to my terminal. And there we go. That's the web page as it is on the server, but encoded in base64. And you can decode that just this with an echo, and then pass that to base64 minus d. I'll be able to decode them as characters again, and there you go, you have it. So I'm gonna do, just because I'm not a bit of a masochist, sometimes I don't like to read things on the terminal. I just throw them to Sublime. Yeah, that's more like it. So here, like obviously I already analyzed that, it probably take more time, and I myself take more time. But if you look at this, especially if you're not a developer, it'll take a bit of time. But if you are, that's fine. That'll be easy. And you have this extra parameter called ext. So what happened is you're just using vil, and you're not using ext, right? If you do not set ext, the value ext become .php. So that's why it's adding PHP to the end. So if this is not set, set this as this, and then include whatever you pass to vil .ext. So you can use this variable maybe to be able to access files that they are not .php files. So let's come back here and just remove all this crap. Sorry. And try to access something different, just like etc passwd. So we're going at least 4 levels, 1 2 3 4. I'll add another one just because that's the luck one, right? And trying to access etc /passwd. I should be good. You should be able to read the file now, as long as we pass this parameter ext. You don't have to set a value to it anyway. And there we go, we got it. So we're able to read that. So that's a LFI, local file inclusion. We're able to read files from the web server that should be restricted, and we should not be able to access them. So this is so far pretty good, but that does not, as a pen tester, you want to have access to the file, to the target system, right? To the machine itself, the box, and you want to, after that, escalate the privilege and so on, and add that to the report, because it's interesting. Developers, administrators have a look at what is actually possible, and they will correct everything. So if you give that insight, and that's how you make yourself useful, right? More information you give, the more vulnerabilities you find, that's the best. That's better for everyone, including you, your journey. So anyway, we want to get access. So from LFI, we want RFI, we want a remote file inclusion that you can use to get access to the machine, for example. The way we're doing this today, and I believe that's the most common approach, is log poisoning. So every time you access a web server, Apache logs your access, like your IP, what request you made, and your user agent to a file called access.log. And we use that, that we know how that works, how it's supposed to work, And here we're gonna think a bit outside the box. You're gonna think like a hacker, and you exploit that functionality that's always available to actually execute code on a remote machine. So I believe this file is right in etc. No, it's not in etc. It's var / log. I believe it's Apache 2 because the version, I know, so using Apache 2. No, it is Apache 2. Know that, right? You can see right here. 242 the folder 38 says Apache 2 and access.log. And you have to add this, so it's not gonna add the .php at the end. And there we go. That's I think this look better, yes. So you have the EIP. This is actually I'm sure we're doing that locally. The date when that occurred, and the request, and the user agent. So that's my IP. I'm not like I don't have the for me it's not a big deal if you're trying to attack this IP, this one, because it's just my lab environment. I don't have anything remotely interesting here. But I think you should ask for permission from TriHack before trying anything. Anyway, you have a lot of boxes to do that. A lot of boxes are more interesting in this network. The date and the request I made, and the user agent, in this case was in the map, was that default scripts running to get more information. Sweet info on our target, sweet recon. And the same when you run GoBuster, and yeah, GoBuster made a lot of noise. And there was very small list, very small list. You can see how that appears in the logs of the machine, and that was us trying to bypass any filter on that page to access files you're not supposed to. So if you're trying to look at this, you probably know what is going on. But the thing is, if you're a demonstrator, you should have like monitoring in real time. So maybe you cannot do that with humans. Maybe you could like employ AI, artificial intelligence, to do that. But you need to have your monitoring in real time, 24/7, and probably want that automated. Because like humans just make mistakes, and they just look at everything all the time. They have like you want humans to do more complex stuff and not just look at logs. So that's why you have like automation and things like sec DevOps or dev. I don't know how to pronounce anyway. And you want to be you want to have a lot of monitoring because of this. But anyway, let's continue. Right, that's boring stuff. Let's do the nice pen testing stuff, right? So how are you going to do that? We're going to modify our user agent, and instead of user agent, you're going to have a payload, a simple PHP code that's going to download a page from our server, from our computer, and then we're going to copy that to the root of the dog cat machine. So you can accept that from the browser and trigger a command. And this command is like a remote shell, alright? So let's do this. Let's see. I already create these. Right. I have this right here, the shell.php. It's this. I simply copy this file right here. What's up? Share web shell php/php. I just created by Pentest Monkey. It's available by default on any call installation, and you can just use that to make your life easier, so you don't have to write your own web shell. But if you look at this, you see it. quite extensive, but basically just have to modify IP inputs. I'll be using my IP on tri-hacking network, obviously, and it ports 4444. I'll probably change this IP after I finish recording this video, but anyway, I want that make it. So to make that available, we can use like web server. We're gonna use a module from Python called http.server, make available in port 8000. Right, if you do not specify a port, default port is 8000. That's good, because I set the connection we're gonna receive some port 444. I need to create a listener of the ports, and it's easy as doing this. That's good so far. And just keep this open. And now what you want to do, you want to send a request, intercept, and modify user agent. And we're going to do that using our friend's verb suits. Verb suit is the best. Okay, it's so useful, so useful. And I'll already proxy running, and I'm just using this browser right here to do it. I prefer not using Fox proxy, and not using my browser or like googling stuff, because that will make my my everything that I'm blogging a bit less reliable. There's a lot of information that's just trash in that, and I just want to make sure everything is actually in scope. I could configure that, but I don't want to. So you go intercept it. I just sent to repeater, and here we're gonna modify the user agents and add our payload. I found it just googling it. Some people trying to get a reverse shell directly. I do not like to do that, but that's not necessarily the best approach. It's just what works for me. I like to upload a web shell first, and because that's just easy to maintain. If you make a mistake here, you'll probably not have a second chance, right? And there be cases that you're not going to be able to use the access to log file, because it can get huge, right? Huge. Yeah, you're better off accessing like afterlog, depending if you can read that, or any other log file under var log that you can modify somehow, here using user agent. If there was like a FTP running, a very secure FTP, the STP, for example, or the service, and it has its own log file, and also actually it records user agent that we're using at IP, very similar like access.log, so you could use that. If you had that option, you'd be better off. Your situation can use access.log, but it's not always what you're gonna find in a real, like in production. As far can become really huge, and it's a mess because you cannot open if it is huge. So anyway, let's continue that. Just send a request and hope our target are accepted, and return at 200. Okay. And I got that, so that was logged. Let's come back here. So we did not receive any requests, so the target did not try to download that yet. We have to trigger that. So I will just trying to access the file again, and that should be enough to trigger the target machine to download our web shell. So yeah, let's look. Yeah, it downloaded web shell. So pay attention here. We will have our listener on port 444, for, and just trying to access this file on our target, and that should be enough for us to get a reverse shell, and a pretty good one. So let's look at this. There we go. We are in the box, so we got access. So that's how you probably be doing that if you want to be a pen tester like me. I'm not a professional, but just learning. I have a really good experience with Try Hack Me. I've been doing a couple labs there from the last 2 months or so. If you're also a beginner, if you want to learn this stuff, that's the place to go. And I super recommending doing a lot of CTFs and doing a lot of boxes, not only on Try Hack Me, but anything you can find. I guess that's the only way to learn like offensive security, things like that, and learn how to be a pen tester. So that's it. I hope you guys learned something. I learned awful lot of stuff just sharing this. If you guys have any suggestions, anything you'd like to share with me, or anything you'd like to correct, or any tips, and I'll be really feel that'd be great. You know, if you can do that, I'll just accept it and learn more of you guys. I'm pretty sure a lot of people that are watching this a lot more experience, and I hope you guys can teach me too, and point me to lots of new stuff or resources I'm not aware of. So thank you very much.